When I think about you, I think of someone who is, very steeped in culture, and that is, very obvious in the way that you come across. Now that you've moved away from your support networks in Auckland and you're raising your family with Afua here, what are the challenges that you are facing in terms of, bringing your children up in the culture?
I think for us, when we moved to Wellington, a huge part of our life is the church. And in Auckland, we were born and raised in the Whakasa Church, so the Congregational Christian Church of Samoa. And so one of the big decisions we had to make when moving to Wellington was where we would go to church. And so we went on a bit of a pilgrimage, actually. We visited lots of different churches, so including our Whakasa churches, but other churches, so Christian churches, non-Samoan churches, and then we had a conversation with our girls and we said, look girls, out of all the churches that we've been to, which church do you feel most comfortable and why? And Michaela, our 9-year-old, actually said, I like the first church that we went to, which was Whakasa Newtown. We said, why was that? And she said, because I feel like in that church my culture will be strong. And as parents, that was really important for us, because we knew that we would be in a predominantly non-Pacific city. Coming from South Auckland, you have that luxury of your extended family, your community. Everywhere you go, you see our people. So we knew that when we were coming to Wellington and living particularly in Wellington Central, that we would need to keep connected with our culture, and a huge way we do that is through the church. So our girls went to an aonga amata, so they, fluent in the language, but one of the challenges is maintaining that level of fluency and engagement in a predominantly non-Pacific, place. So yeah, that's a challenge, but I think as parents, it's really important that we gift our children, that connection to who they are, where they come from, so they can value that and be proud of that too.
And it is a gift. And both you and Afua are in a privileged position in that you both have very good Samoan, and you yourself, you were a Samoan teacher.
Yes.
What advice do you have to people who are trying to pass the language on to their children? Noting that not everyone is in the position that you have with two, both people have the language to pass it on in the first place. Myself, I'm still trying to learn as well as pass it on. So, what are your pearls of wisdom in terms of keeping the language alive? I
think, we have to value it. So it first comes from that strength base that, to learn our language is a really good thing, and that to learn is to make mistakes. When I used to teach Samoan to both, young people but also adults, often they wouldn't know it, in their head, but you can never be fluent in a language unless you develop confidence, to speak. So to speak is to make mistakes, and I think, immerse yourself with people that do speak the language, and have fun learning. It's not all the formal Samoan that we hear, it's actually, the conversations that are really rich. The Samoan radio, good old Samoan radio, playing in the background, or when you're in the car, all those sorts of things. But again, with the children, I often speak Samoan when I'm upset, and so I tell them off in Samoan, but I need to actually just speak Samoan just all the time. So yeah, it is a challenge, and we are blessed and fortunate that we can speak it, but it's not something that we take lightly too. Like, we need to give, share that with others as well.